So the issue I have with this 2020 SE iPhone is that I was having lines throughout the screen, and sometimes the screen would just drop out. So my temp fix was I push up right here, and that is exactly where the ribbon cable is connected. The cable is actually bent all the way, so I'm suspecting the connector right here is the culprit. The phone is working now, but if pressing over here won't work, then you probably have to remove this cover and check the connections again. And then worst case scenario is you probably have to change the whole digitizer and the screen itself. You could get this on eBay or any phone repair store. So I'm going to just double check my connections and then let it sit for a little bit, and then if it still acts up, then I'll replace the whole screen and LCD. So let's get started. So you could get these two kits on eBay pretty cheap. I think about $5 or so. Sometimes when you buy a replacement screen, like an aftermarket one, they will come with the toolkit. So this suction cup is used to remove the screen. After you loosen up the screws and the clips on the side, there's going to be 3 screwdrivers, and they're pretty distinct. One's going to be for the 2 screws on the side right here. One's going to be a Torx screw. One's a 3-point screw. See, it's 3-point. And one is a regular screwdriver. So make sure you don't use the wrong one, or else you could damage the screws. They're going to come with a pry kit. These are made of plastic because you're going to be working with the electronics. You could use this if it doesn't work. Another thing you need is, if you buy a screen, sometimes it comes with these trays. A 2-piece tray to protect the cover when it's shipped. You can actually use these trays to sort out your screws, because there's a lot of different length and different size screws, and you want to be really organized when you're removing this, because you don't want to put the wrong screws. Now, first things first is if you could shut off your phone, shut off your phone. But if your screen's not working, obviously you can't, and you're forced to remove the cover with the phone still on. So you're going to disconnect the battery after you take off the cover. So right now this phone is shut off already. If you can, plug this into your computer or so, back up your phone in case anything happens. So let's get started. These are the Torx head that you need to remove. Now there's going to be some dust area if you never removed it before. Now, second step, if this is the first time you ever remove this cover, it's going to be a little hard. But with the suction cup, you place it right here under the power button. Press it down. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use these 2 fingers pushing forward while this finger is pulling out. I'm pushing this way while I'm pulling outwards. And you might see a little slot, just enough. You could probably use your nail. Now you can break the seal. Work your way around. Make sure it's even. Now there's a waterproofing seal all around here, so that's what you're fighting. So once it opens up, you have to really watch out. You have to watch out because we're going to open the cover this way. So you don't want to open the right side too much. Now when you get to the bottom side, you can do the same thing on the bottom. See right there? That's the edge of the ribbon cable that's bent. So you don't want to open on this side, you want to open it on this side. See, that's the seal that you're breaking. So you're gonna need to replace this too if it's not reusable. Like open it gently this way. You see here's the ribbon cable. And I think I just found my issue. See the cable over there? I think that's my issue right there. This might be an ongoing issue since I pressed up on this and it fixed the issue, so I'm just going to change the screen since I have it open up. So what you're going to do is you're going to disconnect the battery first before the screen. Now use something on the back side to support the screen to make it not flip over. I'm just going to set this cup here just to keep the screen from flapping over. Now there's going to be 4 screws here. One's going to be thicker and 3 will be similar in size. Now if you look closely, this is a regular Phillips, so you get your Phillips. Now after you remove this, you can use this pick and remove the screen. Here's the first cable. The second is down here. You just have to pry it a little bit and it should pop right off. Now right here is the reason why you need to be careful with this ribbon, because this is a curl. You're going to remove these screws for this bracket using the same screwdriver. Now the tricky part about this side is there's going to be screws that are not magnetized, so you have to really align it before you screw it back on. That's the trouble I went through. So my trick is to loosen all the screws. Oh, I just dropped it there, so I have to get a tweezer to get it. As you can see, these screws are fairly small. It's actually 3 that you have to remove for the cover. After you remove the 3, you can pry this ribbon cable out and then the screen is removed. So you can just lightly pry it, don't force anything. This whole job you don't want to put any excessive force. You just want to be gentle and then it should come right out. See? And now the screen is removed. Again, what I found is, you see this bend right here? I think that is what's causing my issue. And this is the waterproofing. Since it broke off, I would have to replace it. That would be another video because I don't have one in stock. So when replacing the screen, you're gonna have to transfer your home button. Your home button is actually linked to your phone. You can't put any aftermarket in it. So we're gonna transfer that over. We're gonna transfer over the hearing unit. This is really fragile, so you need to be careful when transferring it over. Another tip is to see that if your screen's been refurbished, this is the original Apple screen with the glass. So if you buy an aftermarket one, you're not going to see it here. And another thing is you're going to see an Apple logo here, knowing that this is the authentic Apple unit. So to start off, there's going to be 3 bolts here to remove this top shield, and it's a regular Phillips. Now keep in mind, the top 2 is going to be longer than the bottom 2. See the difference in length? So afterwards you can remove the cover. Now there's going to be another screw, 2 screws down here. I'm going to be really gentle because the adhesive is actually holding on to this. Now once you remove it, it's going to look something like this. So this was being all glued together back here. That's what I was working with. It was glued to this surface here, so you have to just gently use this tool, just nudge it, keep nudging it and nudging it until it comes out. See these 4 contacts right here, these gold contacts? That's why I was lightly prying upwards. Now on your new screen, that's why they have that screen there, because there's adhesive. Now for the home button, this is going to be the hardest part. If this is the first time you ever change the screen, the home button is going to be really glued down in the backside right here. So you would need to heat this up with a hairdryer and then use this tool to really slowly pry it up. You don't want to damage this. If you damage this, you could probably have to go to the Apple store to get a new one. There's no aftermarket part that I know of. So for this home button, it's going to be the 3-point screwdriver. So this, I'm still going to be careful, but I'm going to remove this. Another thing to remember is the center part that installs the home button is the smallest screw. You better make sure you separate the screw before putting it on, because if you put a longer screw, it will push up against the home button and it could damage it. So these 3 that I'm taking off is the same size, and then the home button is a different size. You don't want to install this too hard. You don't want to put too much torque on this because you could damage it also. So once you remove this, I'm going to put it on the side right here. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually smaller than the rest of them. Maybe by just 1 thread. Remove that. Now here's the finessing that I need to work with. So I'm going to first disconnect this from the digitizer. Once you just pry here lightly. See, it wraps over and connects on it. So it's possible to not remove the cover and take the home button out. So I'm going to see if this frees up. If it doesn't, I will have to take this off. So after taking it out, I'm just going to pry from the back really, really slowly. Again, you're just nudging it. See, I just freed it up. But then if this is the first time you do it, you will have to heat up this area and then slowly pry to free it up. So now you could take this out. See, this is tied to your phone. So if this is the first time, you will have to remove this cover right here, this heat shield cover, so you have more space to work with. Now we're pretty much done with the old screen over here. It's still a good screen, but then because of this, it's not worthwhile to keep. So here's the replacement screen. I'm going to route my home button the same way. So I just stuck it through. You will have to lift this cable up and tuck it under. So I'm using my pinky to hold the whole home button down. Gently align it, and you could press down lightly so this little notch right here, you could push down on it and that should align the home button. And then you can use your thumb to connect. You're gonna feel it click. Once it clicks, it's connected. So lightly tap it flush. Now you could screw this one back in. And I'm going to screw back in the center bolt for the home button. So it helps if you get it aligned. Since it's magnetized, it'll stick on. Now you put it on the center. Now my one trick that I'd use is I always go backwards, counterclockwise until I feel the notch. You see? I'll go again. You hear that? Now that's the beginning part of the screw. Now you could go clockwise. To screw it on. Now I use that trick for most screws because that's usually how it is. So after I looped it through, I just put the cover back on and I thread in all 4 of these screws just loosely so all the holes are aligned. Then I tightened it, these first, just snug, and then the center one, not too tight on the center one because you could damage the center screw. You could damage the home button if you do. So after that, you're done with the home button. Now I'm moving back on the top over here. Now to install this, we're going to have to transfer all these over to the new one. So I went ahead and transferred the cable already. For the cable, you need to align it to these 2 notches right here. It should line right up. Once your cables are in, you'll lift this up. Put the speaker. And wrap over it. Now you want to make sure everything is aligned up before you put the cover back on and screw it in. Now you could go ahead and screw in these 3 for the box. The short screw is going to be over here down, and then the top two is going to be the same length. Again, I go reverse, counterclockwise. Once you hear the click, then you could thread it in. Again, the top two screw are the longer ones and the bottom one is the shorter ones. Now you can install these three. Alright, now that we're done, we transferred over the home button. Make sure all the screws are tight. We transferred the earpiece, speaker. Everything's aligned, ribbon cable, everything's secured. So now, you want to make sure there's no old adhesive around the edge before you install it. Now I don't have the adhesive water seals. I have to reinstall it when it comes in the order. Position the phone, and I have a cup here just to keep it from hyperextending. I'm gonna leave it over here. So first thing I connect is this ribbon cable into this slot. And you're just gonna use your finger. Alright, it's on. Once it's connected, you'll feel that it's connected. You can use this to ensure that it's in. Now we put on the shield. The shield's gonna be the tough part because you have to align the screw holes and it's not magnetized. Now these screws are so small, it's so hard to align because it's not magnetized. So you really need to be patient with this. Now once it's on, you just go reverse until you hear the click. Now you thread it on lightly because you still have to align two more. You can really push this on. Hopefully it sticks, but if it doesn't, then you have to work with what you got. So another trick I do is I put it on top and I just push it until it drops in, and if it drops in correctly, then you can thread it. See, now I have to pick it back up and start all over. Patience is key here. Now, using a pair of tweezers, I got it to align. Now you can thread this on. Snug it. Now the last one, you have to work around the cable. That's the hard part too. And then if it falls into the valley, you probably have to remove a lot just to get it back. So you have to be careful again. Oh, I got lucky. It fell right in. So hopefully it screws on. Go backwards. Click. Tighten. Now all three is secure. You snug all three. This one. Now for over here, you just lift this up. You press in the connector on the bottom. And then the top. Then you could put on the shield. Now remember there's 2 deep and 2 shallow. Here's the 2 deeps and 2 shallow screws. Alright, now that everything's connected, you can turn on your phone before you close the cover and turn it back on. Just to double check. Make sure everything works. All the touch functions, make sure. I think we're all set. Now we could turn it back off. Double check one last time, make sure nothing is missing. So when you're done, you just put the cover back on, and then starting from the top, you just press, and you're going to start feeling all the clicks. Once it's all connected, you connect these two screws back on and you are pretty much done. I forgot to mention that you don't have to remove the SIM card. And there you go. You can peel it out. Clean screen. Now, 3 ways to check for authentic screen and LCDs is for the screen. You're going to see this Apple logo right on the glass. And over here, there's a shield on top of the digitizer. So when you remove it, you're going to expose this ribbon right here. And then when you have the ribbon exposed, you check in the back side, you'll see an Apple logo over here. Now you have to remove this to see. And then on the speaker, this one broke already, but then there's another Apple logo over here, and that's for the earpiece. But most of the time, sometimes the screens don't come with it. Now for the Apple SE 2020 is a similar screen with the iPhone 8 regular, but the only difference is for the Apple 8 is more flatter. It's more flatter. If you're replacing your broken SE screen with an Apple 8 screen, the only difference that you're going to notice is that the screen covers will not cover that well. Now the iPhone 8 screen is more flatter, while the SE 2020 has a curvature to it. So if you put in a iPhone 8 screen on a SE 2020, you're going to see this halo effect around the edge. Probably not going to like it. Another reason to spend a little more money on authentic screen and LCDs, you're going to feel a difference in brightness and touch sensitivity. And also one thing that replacing the screen is not going to do is the auto dimming. You might sacrifice auto dimming if you don't use the original screen and digitizer. For that, you would probably have to go to Apple or find someone that has the proper tool to plug in and adjust your auto dimming. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I hope this video is helpful. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.